G2, this is already when they're still a half-decent team. Remember, they made that Pro League final, smirking them, Kenny S. Shocks. Then you go to 2020, when early on in the year, he goes 1.83 over 5 maps against Astralis and a 1.58. This is the real Astralis still, you know. This is bonkers stuff, guys. Then the G2 with Kenny S when they were popping off. Still, there's obviously not many maps because it's only the first part of 2020. This is unbelievable stuff, guys. Like, if that's being contained, doesn't it show you how truly great he is? Isn't that like saying the Boston Celtics, like, contained Michael Jordan? But then you go and look at his numbers in the eye test, it's like, no wonder Larry Bird said he was God. Like, that actually just shows he's impossible to beat, right? Just forget about it, mate. Just forget about it. Just forget about it. Look, this is impossible. No one will ever be able to fuck with this guy. You do know that, right? You do know simple as an alien. And the joke is, it should be Nico that we endlessly talk about as like this crazy mechanical prodigy that no one will ever fuck with. Or Ziwu or Monacy. Simple makes them look like just extremely good players or just very good players. Or he makes it like he's clearly the best and then they're second. But they're the second clearly. When you're as good as these guys are, it should be like Messi and Ronaldo. It should just be you pick 1A, 1B. You pick which you prefer. You pick which factors you like. But I can make the argument for the other side. It's hard to make any arguments for anyone else, right? How do you do it, right? So now when we get into some of these different things they're changing, I want to just say at the outset, if a change is bad, but makes Counter-Strike more realistic to what would happen in real life, that's still bad to me. I don't play video games for realism. I'm not trying to play a tank simulator where I need 5 people to operate the tank and one does the turret thing and one does the map and the rate. That's garbage. Like, guess what? First of all, things in video games are for fun and fantasy and experiencing things you can't do in real life. They're not about pure realism. And also, the reason I say miss me with realism angles is almost everything I think watered down Counter-Strike and CSGO over the years in changes came from this push to be more realistic. Even though, by the way, half the things people talk about with realism would actually fundamentally kill the game dead. Like the obvious one is if you got shot in the leg with a deagle, your leg should essentially be broken and you can't walk properly. Like, that doesn't work already, does it? That's not the way CS works. You go to like very low health, but your body still works the same. So do you want realism? Of course you don't. No one does in that sense. You just get tricked by it as a good idea. By the way, let's make that a theme of this video. Just because something's new and sounds like a good idea doesn't mean it's better and you should automatically embrace it. But I will say, all these years, and if you don't know, by the way, please stop this thing where you act like Valve did us a favour making Counter-Strike and that they do it all out of the goodness of their hearts. Or even being like, and you know, they've got devs there working and programming and everything. They make billions of dollars profit from Counter-Strike. Profit, not even revenue. Profit. They are so insanely fucking rich from Counter-Strike. CSGO, a game they didn't make. It is nuts that people can't see they have self-interest. That most of the things, 99% of what they do is just in their own self-interest and makes them rich. Rich, more, not only just more money, rich, incredibly wealthy and powerful in esports. The joke is they have so many different golden geese laying eggs, like the Dota 2 thing, like the skin market. That's why they don't care as much about updating CSGO or balancing it. They just get, there's too many. They're just so rich, they're overflowing with a luxury, an abundance of riches that they just can't choose between them. They can't pick between which they want to do this day, and sometimes one of them, like CSGO, gets neglected. So let's start out. This is the other reason this topic irritates me, is we're on the internet, guys. Like, it would be so easy to find this information. Why is no one ever putting up a picture of him on a podium? Why has no one ever got him in a jersey like he was a StarCraft 2 pro? Because you haven't even taken 1 minute to Google it. Anyone who's saying this information. So first things first, a little primer for how the internet works. You want to look some simple history up. This website, esportsearnings.com, does a pretty good job. Sure, they might not have some obscure Ukrainian LAN in 2004 that Blade played in. Spoiler, I could actually potentially give them that info if they ever hit me up. I know a few of the guys from there, so maybe I will one day. It's just not that big a deal that he won, you know, 100 euros or something. But anyway, for most normal competitions, especially like legit pro esports, they're going to have it in here. So spoiler, when you go here, you type in here, what's that, Elige, yeah? Players, search. There's only one found, so we know it can only be him, Elige, spelt the right way. Jonathan Jablonowski, yep, that's him. Oh, look at all this, Elige, Liquid, Oh, he's won $1 million, right? What you do is click his ID and it's going to tell you here he's a CSGO pro. But okay, he might have played more games. Scroll down, earnings by game. CSGO and Valorant. That's right. He stood in some Valorant cup for like Team Liquid and they got like 1,800 as his share or whatever. He's actually won money in Valorant, guys. And Graham, I also would not consider employing. You'll notice no StarCraft 2. It's nothing listed, which means he hasn't recorded even $1 fucking won in a tournament they viewed as meaningful and they have the results for. So that should already give it away there. And then not only did a load of fans go out there and find a whole load of instances, which gets pretty mental, by the way, but I mean, I'm going to show you right now. This guy responds and he just goes, put all the videos and timestamps I found in a Google spreadsheet. So let's take a look at that Google spreadsheet, shall we? So here we are. This guy, I don't know if he's some super fan or what. It was like an account that obviously looked like 123 or whatever, maybe someone else's account. This guy did an amazing job. He basically did the whole thing for me. I saw other people linking, but he got them all in here as far as I can tell, at least to this point in time. So if you have a look here, let's just scroll down on the side, shall we? Right, obviously at the top, number 1 is video, right? Bear that in mind. But let's go down. Right, he found, and this says 73, so -1, 72 different videos on the Score Esports channel feature content that is mine. Is there anything more? Yeah, 3 is the most as far as I can tell. So I counted up how many on that screen, on that spreadsheet. 113 different instances of them using my footage in their videos across 72 videos, as we just pointed out. And that's from my YouTube, by the numbers, etc., etc. Now, they're not just using fair use, because they don't just use like one 30-second clip or a couple of 30-second clips. Occasionally, they were doing it again and again and again and again and again and again. They're taking videos and using like 30-second clip, another 30-second clip from the same interview, another 30-second clip from the same interview, another 30. What is going on? Like, I did an interview with JW. I did like 3 of them at this point. And they just cannibalized loads from this shit. Or how about this one? This one's pretty wild. How about when one guy just pointed out, he just looked up the Seb interview. I did a 5-hour interview with Seb, who'd won the TI at the time. It was split into 2 parts. They literally took, look at this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different instances in their video are from my interview that I never gave any permission to, and I profited 0 from, and I do not give permission to, in fact. And that leads to another aspect. So, quite frankly, they're just cannibalizing these videos, sometimes using it as the backbone of their video to tell the story and even copy the storylines, or just using it over multiple videos. Like, they'll take a JW interview and use it in this interview, and this interview, and then this video, and this video, and this video, and this. Like, what is going on? What is going on? In fact, when I discovered this in 2020, like in 2020, they were still cannibalizing my content from 2014 and 2015. So you know what? I don't give a fuck. Now, I won't reveal the log of what happened or like private stuff that anyone said, but essentially the gist is this. As you can probably tell by his public reaction, he refused to listen to me. He just kept going back to being offended by Richard having called Blade a clown, something he didn't do, to my knowledge. So I basically told Simple to fuck off and don't message me anymore, because he obviously doesn't care about the truth, that he's not even listening to what I'm telling him while I'm trying to help him out to not look like a fool in public and to just completely essentially slander someone who never did what you said. You can't, by the way, you can't, if you're Alfari, just let yourself get benched like this and cocked completely. You can't let this fucker, if he is indeed lying, imply that at the game, your entire livelihood, you aren't good enough. And not only aren't you good enough, they're going to use fucking this guy Jenkins over you. And in fact, you're not even good enough to play on Team Liquid. How fucking dare you if you're Jat in that scenario? If I'm Alfari, how fucking dare you? Now, that never added up to me anyway, that he was benched a month earlier and that was always something you thought about for performance reasons or to fit the team. Because when Jack came on the crackdown, just over a month prior, be it a month and a half ago now, he praised Alfari heavily. I think from memory he even said something mad like he had the best laning he'd ever seen or something. Like, he was very, very much praising. But we're supposed to believe, like a week after that, a few days after that, he started going, you know what? Maybe fuck Alfari and I'll play this Jenkins guy that no one really talks about. And I'll even play him on Alfari's champions. But I'll then keep implying Alfari might come back later, but I'll keep playing Jenkins because that's what I've decided to do because I'm the coach. And then he's just done these terrible ones where it's like, what's the thinking on this play? How's that a play an AD carry mix at the top level in the type of team you have and with the win conditions of the game at that point in time? Why would you go for that? Like, what's the upside there? It's so small, the upside. But the downside is enormous and you can just throw whole games. games. Then even when he was at Worlds, like he had just miscellaneous brain dead players. So you just die for no reason whatsoever. And by the way, on a champion where, for fuck's sake, you're on Ziggs. How are you dying like this for no reason out in the opening World Championship games, my dude? Like, I'd be so depressed if I was this guy's teammate and I look down and I see him there. Like, as much as people want to talk shit on some of the old players like Hjarnan, etc., who were never great AD carry players. I mean, Kobe, tell you what, they knew their job. They knew exactly where their bread was buttered and how to play to the strengths and weaknesses of their particular skill set, and they knew what their role was in their teams. This guy doesn't. Like, this guy thinks he's fucking Jackie Love or something, and he is far from Jackie Love. The Beatles said they get by with a little help from their friends, but I get by with a little help from my Patreon community. And this video was kindly supported by Matt Pugnatio Rajcula, Ahmed Hadjou, Bot Pounder 420, Torin, Animosity, Tobias Bernasconi, Jensen Goh, Tosh, and a special thanks always goes out to my main man, Jerky's Minion. Would you like to ask me a question in my monthly video AMA? Do you want teasers to find out who are the upcoming guests? Maybe you want to take part in one of those lengthy but intense esports discussions I have with my donators, or maybe you want to suggest a guest or a topic that I could cover. Well, if any of those tickle your fancy, put your money where your mouth is and join the Skrilluminati today, where in the description box below there is a Patreon link.